Potential Tropical Cyclone 1L designated. We're looking at the fact that tropical storm watches have been issued, and we're looking at a landfall on Saturday. Update 1 on potential Tropical Cyclone 1L. It was recently designated by the National Hurricane Center, located at 21.3 degrees north, 87.5 degrees west. It is likely to become the first tropical storm of the Atlantic hurricane season for 2022. This is as of 6 p.m. for Miami. We're looking at winds of 35 miles an hour, a pressure of 1,003 millibars, and it's moving to the north at about 5 miles an hour currently. We do expect a curve to the northeast in the next day or so. Here it is on the map. While it may look like it's out to sea, it's actually just exited the Yucatan Peninsula. No tropical storm force winds exist at this time, given the fact that it hasn't attained gale force winds yet. Still 35 miles an hour. It needs 40 with the official classification before it gets those winds. It's 49 miles away from Cancun, 345 from Havana, 490 from Cape Coral in Florida, 541 from Tampa, 547 from Miami, and then converting that to kilometers for you, that's 79 from Cancun, 555 from Havana, 789 from Cape Coral, 870 from Tampa, and 980 from Miami. Cape Coral, of course, is in there mainly because of the fact that the current National Hurricane Center does bring the storm to make landfall just north of Cape Coral at this time. There's not much for satellite intensity estimates, given the fact that the National Hurricane Center did just start issuing advisories on it, so we are looking at the National Hurricane Center and Raycon primarily, with those 35-mile-an-hour winds being far out from the center. This is the latest cone from the National Hurricane Center. They expect it to become a depression in 12 hours before becoming a tropical storm in 24, making landfall in Florida and then eventually exiting out into the western Atlantic. Some uncertainties as to the strength, but the National Hurricane Center is predicting a peak of 50 miles an hour at this time. Tropical storm watch is in effect for parts of western Cuba and into the southern half of Florida, so that is going to be something worth noting. Maybe some tropical storm watches issued across the western Bahamas in a bit as well, so if you are watching from there, do note that. And the sea surface temperature side of things, we're looking at 28 degrees sea surface temperatures, and it is going to be dropping as it heads towards Florida, where it only goes down to 27. Still marginally favorable enough for it to be okay, but it is dealing with a lot of wind shear, and we'll be going into that in a little bit. This is the storm surge that is forecast. We're looking at 1 to 2 feet across the Keys, 1 to 3 feet as you head into Marco Island, down into the Keys, and then it's 1 to 2 feet for the rest of the southwestern coast. In terms of tropical storm force winds probabilities, it's not looking that high right now, just because there's a bit of a complex forecast to deal with, and the fact that tropical storm force winds will be so far out of the center. And then looking at the intensity models, you can see that it's going to be pretty much a weak tropical storm at best. It's not like there's going to be significant strengthening, and that intensification you see later on is probably due to baroclinic processing as it becomes extratropical. Wind shear is going to keep on going up 30 to 40 knots at that point. Sea surface temperatures are definitely going to be dropping as it emerges into the western Atlantic, and relative humidity is not going to be getting any more favorable. In fact, it will be getting the opposite, so a lot of hostile conditions that 1L will have to deal with in the coming days. Here is the satellite image where you can see, even though the center is exiting out the Yucatan, you can see pretty much everything related to it is displaced, and much of the convection right now is affecting portions of western Cuba, starting to affect the Keys and extreme southern Florida at this point as well. I do want to note that this is definitely not going to be a storm to focus on the winds. It's going to be a storm to focus on the rainfall, as we could be looking at 6 to 10 inches of rain across southern Florida and the western Bahamas. So definitely something that you guys over there need to be keeping an eye out for. Rain is going to be the biggest threat with this storm. We'll keep you updated with another update with our tropical weather bulletin later tonight.